I want to do something a little different this week because normally I'm on here talking about writing tips and ways to become a better writer. But I want to change it up a little bit today because sometimes we can forget to talk about the truth of it, which is how hard this stuff is. I want to rant about something today, something so many writers in our community deal with, and that I personally deal with. Even after writing 15 books, even after becoming a best-selling author, I still have a hard time writing books. And specifically, I have a hard time finishing books. And I know I'm not alone because every day I talk to writers who are struggling with this, with finishing writing their books. And here's what happens. You get an idea, you get a book idea, and it sounds so great. Maybe it's an idea for a story. Maybe it's an idea from your own life. Maybe it's a nonfiction book to teach people something related to your business or expertise. And maybe you don't even get the idea yourself, but someone just tells you, oh, you should write a book about that. And you think, great, that would be awesome. I would love to be an author. I would love to get published, maybe even become a bestseller. Who knows if it goes well? Maybe I can quit my job and become a professional writer. Maybe I can publish several books with more on the way to become a well-known and well-respected author like the ones I read and love. And even if you're not that ambitious, you probably, at the very least, want to write a great book that changes someone's life. There's just one problem. You have to write the book, and it doesn't take too long to realize that writing a book is really hard. And even if you do write a book, writing a great book, a book that can be published, is even harder. And that's my story too. So my story is that I wanted to become a writer since I was a teenager. I was reading this book. I think it was A Tale of Two Cities. And I had this idea that maybe I could do this. Maybe I could become a professional writer and just create books and worlds and characters and tell stories that people love that change their life. Like my life was being changed by the books I was reading. And I wanted to become a writer. I set my sights on that goal. And I went to college and I got a degree in creative writing, thinking that it would help me become an author. But here's what happened. Every time I would sit down to write, I would get distracted. And I would find myself scrolling through Facebook, not really sure what to write about, not really sure what to write next. And then when I would write something, I would agonize over every sentence. And just when I would get what I had written into a good place, I would go back to the beginning and realize everything that I had written wasn't very good and that I needed to start over. I remember this one time I was actually in the middle of a year-long trip. I was traveling around the world to really focus on my writing. I hadn't felt like I had enough time to focus on my writing. And so I made time. I quit my job and I did some volunteer work while I traveled and wrote. I was working on a novel. And I was so excited about it. I thought, this is it. I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to finally write the novel of my dreams. And I was like 20,000 words into this book. And it really did feel like I was on the edge of a breakthrough. I could taste it. And then a few days later, I got stuck and I couldn't think what to write next. If I'm being honest, I was kind of afraid that my book would never be good enough, that I wouldn't be able to live up to my favorite authors, that I wouldn't get a publishing deal. And so I went back to the drawing board. And in the midst of trying to fix my problem, I realized that the first part of the book wasn't going to work with the new direction I was going. So I scrapped it and started over. And it was great. This new direction was working. And I got 10,000 words in and it stopped working. And I hated my book. I had no idea what to write next. Everything that I had written, I thought was terrible. I hated my writing. And I thought, it's okay. I'll just take a break. And I thought, yeah, if I just procrastinate a little bit, that's going to help me come up with some new ideas. What could go wrong? And every time I would try to go write that book, I just couldn't do it. I was stuck. And I thought, I just don't have the discipline to do this anymore. I don't have the discipline in me. I'm not capable of finishing this book, or maybe not any book. And then eventually I gave up trying. I just gave up. I quit. So let me know in the comments if this sounds familiar, if you've ever struggled with something like this, because I know that my experience isn't alone in that. Some of the things that people tell me that they're struggling with every day are procrastination, feeling like you don't have enough time, that you don't have enough time management, that you don't have the discipline to write every day. People tell me that they have too many distractions, or they're just too easily distracted, or they say they're trying to be too perfect with their writing, or they get really inconsistent motivation. Sometimes you're so passionate, you can almost taste it. And other times you wonder, who are you kidding? Are you actually going to be able to do this? People tell me that they're afraid that they're not good enough. So that's my rant. If you've struggled with this, I just want to say, I get it. I've been there. I think a lot of other people are experiencing the same thing. That's helpful for you. Let me know. And hey, here's a question for you. If you knew there was a process that if you followed it, you are guaranteed to finish writing your book, would you do it? Hit reply and let me know. And I'd love to hear your experiences too, because this is something I've struggled with, something pretty much every writer I know has struggled with. And I've also found some important solutions that have been really effective for helping me and for other writers in our community actually finish their books. And I'm going to share more about that later this week, how I got there, what I did, and what could work for you. But I don't want to skip just how hard this is. So tell me in the comments if I shared a process that would help you overcome all of these challenges. Would you actually do it? Let me know. In the meantime, happy writing, good luck, and we'll see you soon.